So if I was a genius, I might have purposefully sprinted at the reagent here and made a lot of noise, triggering the sound gate and trapping the reagent in this small room with me, but my thinking was that my position is unrevealed, and I wanted to sustain the value in the reagent not knowing whether I was near them or even in the trial at all. In 1v1, I think the most reliable way to play is to allow the reagent to just walk onto the tip of your knife, because if I botched the trap instead, and the reagent juked me, maybe stun rigged me and ran the other way, there's no way I'm keeping up, because there's 3 long straight hallways leading away from this area, and imposter stamina can't win. So I went for the safe and probably second best play. I moved ahead to where I anticipated the reagent would go, knowing they were carrying the kid and they only have one destination, which is the van. I wait in the dark at the bottom of the orphanage foyer, and from here there's only 2 pathways he can take. I have eyes on both. Synesthetic sense tells me I'm right, he is coming this way, so all I have to do is wait. He runs through with the kid and the stab is easy. As expected, he bricks me off and stuns me, but then he does something really unwise. He just picks up the kid and keeps running for the van. One of the reagent's biggest advantages over imposters is that they can outpace an imposter in a sustained chase. With me being stunned as an added bonus, this guy could have just slipped into the night and I would never have known where he went. Instead, he got kind of mind controlled into thinking he has to complete the objective right this instant, so all I have to do is walk up and kill him, and there's really no skill involved on my part. To show you how easy it would have been for him to survive, in our very next encounter, the same thing happens. I catch up to slash him, he stuns me and runs off with the kid. But here the van is not nearby, he can take practically any path he wants. I try to track him down, I use this activated sound gate as a footprint of sorts, but I still can't find him and eventually have to leave. So that's well played to him. In this encounter, stab, brick me, run. Here I'm a pig and I should give up on the chase a lot earlier, but I'm coping, and I see this mistake made by a lot of imposters. They just cope hard and magically believe they can catch up to a reagent who has much more stamina than them, particularly when there's not even any dead end in sight to trap the reagent in. Because these are just long hallways, again, I should stop the chase early and move ahead to where the reagent will be in the future. I think it's actually better a lot of the time to just Michael Myers walk your way around the trial and conserve your stamina, knowing the reagent will run into you at one point. And I do this successfully, I guess rightly that the reagent will loop back into me, and it's an easy kill. This is old footage by the way. On the most recent patch, imposter damage was nerfed, so this would have just been a fast slash instead of a kill animation. Either way, judging by a lot of the complaints I'm seeing, as well as from my own gameplay and from watching good players like Kotzwurst and Kross, I think some of the biggest downfalls by both reagents and imposters is we're just rushing things way too much. It looks like we're too stuck in our ways from PvE, and we're really unwilling to change our playstyles to accommodate the ways that PvP changes the game. So for imposters, rushing things basically looks like they're just sprinting in a straight line at the reagents in all circumstances, not caring how much noise they make, how obvious they're being, how easily they give themselves away, and then they wonder why they're getting chronically bricked up and can't do anything about it. This is very easy to solve. You just have to play stealthy and patient and wait for the reagent to come to you. For the reagent to not rush things, I think it takes a bit more restraint and a lot more unlearning of old habits. I think we have to really get used to telling ourselves, even if the objective is right in front of us, that we have no obligation to do it right now. If a teammate goes down, similarly, we don't have to revive them right now. Because it's so obvious to the imposter that we want to do these things, and it's easy for them to just sit there and camp. And we really shouldn't feel surprised when we go directly to the place we know the imposter is waiting to kill us in, and then they kill us. That's like normal. To give you some context for this clip, my friends and I got invaded super early in this Foster the Orphans, but we were breezing through the trial without a single one of us encountering an imposter at all, and we're asking each other, are these guys clueless? So right here, I'm on my way to the final radio, and an imposter pops out of the locker right next to it and stabs me. It's embarrassing because I could have easily dropped stun and run away, but my left hand fingers were 1 key rightwards of home row, and I couldn't find my R key, so it's fine. I'm a pig for dying this way, but I think it's what happens afterwards which is the most consequential, because all my friends rush in one by one to try and resurrect me, thank you guys, but the imposters are camping my body, and they're ready to stab them all in turn, and it turns into this chaotic hellfest where everyone is dying and resurrecting, and the imposters are just running around stabbing and getting bricked and stabbing, and I think this sort of chaotic situation benefits the imposters. The more chances they have to kill us reagents, the better for them. So what I should have done is told my team, there's no rush to res me, you can just take your time, loot some throwables or a syringe, and then wait a while to regroup together outside the laundry room where my corpse is, and if you wait long enough, maybe you'll glimpse or hear the imposters retreating through the insertion gates, because they do have to leave eventually. They're the ones on a timer. Meanwhile, the syringe in your hand does not have an expiration date. I know they're limited, but I think we should be thinking in these ways. because everyone complains about imposters camping. I just think there's very obvious counterplay to the camping strategy. If the radio where my corpse was not the final objective, my team could have so easily run off to the rest of the map and completed the rest of the objectives while the imposters impotently camp my body for nothing. If we know an imposter is camping, we reagents really can't do anything else on the map and it'll be fine. The only concern, if you can call it that, is that your dead teammate doesn't get to have any fun until they're resurrected, which can be a problem if you have randoms as teammates and they're impatient and they don't understand why you can't revive them right this instant. But like, that's silly. I know it's frustrating, but when we die, we should not be selfish. We have to understand that there are times when our teammates have to play slow and prioritize things other than resurrecting us. On top of this, when you do have one dead teammate, they don't even have to be revived at all. Reagents win when any single one of them escapes through the exit shuttle. So if it does get really desperate, it is a totally valid choice to leave one to die. And maybe sometimes you should, because trying to be a hero often results in a lot more reagents dying than is necessary. And for an example of this, a play where I'm not a pig, 2 of my teammates are downed here by 2 imposters, my priority is not to instantly run to revive my teammates, that would get me killed. I have to deal with the imposters first. I keep them at a distance, I kite them around, and when I run out of projectiles, I have to abandon the area entirely, because the imposters are still the ones on a timer. This will always be true. They have to leave eventually, which will make the reses safe and easy. Even if my teammates bleed out and die and they need a syringe, like they get executed or something, once I do find a syringe, it'll all be fine. If I instead rushed in because I don't want to waste a syringe or whatever, I just increase the potential risk to our team as a whole, because if I die, that's another syringe we're going to need. A reagent can afford to hedge their bets like this, an imposter often can't. So only once I find a brick to defend myself do I try to go back in, and luckily it's enough to kill the last imposter and both reses are easy. Now, let's go back to imposters not being able to hedge their bets. They have to commit all in to whatever play they choose to make, basically. For context, we beat Vindicate the Guilty here, we killed the judge a bit painlessly, and we're wondering, did the imposters give up? No. One's camping outside the first building here ready to stab me. And it looks silly, but I really like this play by them. The imposters recognized that the judge was already dead, and the timing was such that they couldn't stop us from killing her, so their only other option was to put all their eggs in one basket and all in on the exit kills. I rushed it way too much, and I played right into their hands. I exhausted all my stamina, I had a brick and bottle, I didn't have to get hit at all if I was careful, but I played it like this because my concern was that I had to beat the imposters to the exit shuttle so that they couldn't camp us. I should have recognized that they could have already been there, which they were. So I don't know how many people need to learn this lesson, I clearly do, but when the imposters don't appear for a long time, that should not alleviate your suspicions, it should heighten them, because you should expect your opponents are planning something. Don't ego it and just assume they're bad players because you haven't seen them. That's how you die. That's how I die, at least. Anyway, we escaped the trial here despite a really good effort by the imposters. Now, this goes back to the don't be a hero thing that I mentioned earlier. One of our teammates does die on the way out, and we decide, what's the harm in trying to save them? There was a lot of harm. 3 of us could have made it out, only 1 actually did. So actually this was very scary, because I guess so long as you designate one player to stay in the shuttle no matter what, there's no real risk. But if everyone does leave the shuttle, we could have very easily thrown this one away, you know? Now, watching footage like this might make you angry, because I know it looks really cheap and unplayable that the imposters can just camp the shuttle and there's basically no chance to revive our dead teammate because of it. And then there's other aspects of PvP as well that are unfair in very similar ways for both sides. You have reagents stun locking imposters, there's imposters having too little stamina to ever catch up to reagents, there's imposters having one-shot capabilities, and people complain about all of this. Some of these complaints are valid, but my view of things is that, you know, what'll get fixed will get fixed, and what will get changed will get changed. So I don't know if you think you're loud enough for Red Barrels to listen to you and change the game in the ways you demand. Maybe they will, but that's not 100% in your control. What is in your control is to improve the game and just craft ways to be better in whatever impossible scenarios you are presented with. That's why this video is titled the way it is, because I don't feel like any of us, not even the really good players, none of us have even nearly unlocked the full potential of either the reagent or imposter role. Because it's expected, right? Invasion's barely been out for a week. Of course we don't yet know the best ways to play the game out. We're seeing multiple playstyles from either side. Everything can look viable if you have the skills to pull it off, and it makes me actually really like the versatility and the experimenting going on. You can get really creative with it all. You can get so creative, I find it difficult to believe when people get so closed-minded about the state of the game. They'll say with absolute certainty that this strategy doesn't work, or there's no way to counter X, and so on and so on. people say imposters should only camp. They say that's the only way to success, and I can see why people say this because you get bricked up when you try to run straight at a group of reagents, but these aren't your only options. You can certainly try to fool the reagents into thinking you're one of them and be an imposter proper, even though a lot of people say this strategy never works. I pulled a simple trick of walking with my back turned to the reagent I was trying to kill. I think this looks like fearful behavior, and so the reagent is automatically led to assume that I'm backing away from the same threat as they are. I pulled this off twice. I didn't even do it very well. I think I should keep more distance and kind of pretend I'm wary of them as well, as if I'm afraid they're the imposter. I think that'd be really good faking. Obviously, this isn't going to work every time, especially against very composed reagents who comms to each other and confirm you're not real. But so long as you, as an imposter, are constantly tricky like this, you will always be forcing a huge mental burden on the reagents who always have to worry who's fake, who's not, whether you're lurking around, whether you're not. Mind games are super important and super underutilized, I think, even from the reagent side. Mental burden I was just talking about, on this solo Feed the Children 1v1, I started to jump straight upwards like a lot of the time to check every single barrel around me because I was afraid the imposter was hiding in them. Maybe I have PTSD now from imposters in hiding spots, but being forced to be wary like this all the time around every hide spot, it slows me down even without the imposter doing anything. That's the passive benefit that a skilled imposter can accrue. The reagent always assumes you're doing the right thing, you're waiting in the right place for them all the time. But I digress. This clip is about mind games. I deliberately left this cafeteria camera undestroyed so that I would know when the imposter was watching me, because in 1v1, if they're pinging me, it obviously means they're not in the trial if they're photographing me. So this would take a long time to explain verbally, so I'll just put up a chart of pros versus cons of pinging with camera in all circumstances. This imposter, I think they were a very good player, but this was a huge oversight by them. They should not be spam photographing me here. Like, yes man, I know I'm gorgeous, but whenever they ping, I get to tell myself, okay, this guy can't be on me for a minimum of like 10 or 15 seconds. And every time after that they ping, it just refreshes the timer. I keep having my sense of security like confirmed and reinforced, and that's terrible for the imposter. It just lets me pour the bleach with total peace of mind. I think maybe they were thinking, if I know they're watching me, I'm scared because they know where I am. Yeah. But in 1v1, it doesn't work like this at all. It's the complete opposite. If they were to leave me unpinged instead, that actually creates more anxiety for me because I don't know whether they're watching or whether they're in the trial, and I have no idea how careful I have to be. Even more mind games. You've seen here that I have bleach just laying all around. I have my last one here, and I drop it instead of going to pour it because I expect that this is the timing for the imposter to sneak up on me. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. You never have any obligation to do any objective right now. You can complete it in increments and foil the imposter's plans if they expected you were going all the way with it. So it turns out I was right, but this situation is ugly. He almost stabs me, but I think he thought I jumped past him or something, so he ends up looking the wrong way. Yeah, now this chase, the imposter is a bit foolish to chase me in a pure straight line. He should know I'm beating him with pure stamina, like I mentioned earlier, so I could have run a straight line out and away from him, but because I knew I was basically safe no matter what, I thought it would be more winning for me if I knew where the imposter was headed and they didn't. So I tucked away and let the imposter assume that I just kept running through the church, and because I'd left the final bleach sitting in the cafeteria, they would end up camping outside there anyways. I thought if I looped back around the way they didn't expect, I would end up behind them, watching them instead of them getting to watch me, and I wouldn't have to worry about watching my back, wondering how long it'd take for them to catch up, or if they ended up flanking around the other way. So I played it out like this, but when I didn't end up seeing them at the cafeteria, I got really suspicious and I decided to wait things out. My patience was rewarded. I found that the imposter was actually hiding in this freezer inside the cafeteria. They probably expected me to show up and pour the bleach, but I waited out their timer. I got to pour the bleach afterwards, unbothered, and it was really easy for me to beat the trial after that point because it's Feed the Children. Now my kind of stealth-based playstyle, I think it's very far removed from what we see from a lot of really good players, and this is highlighted in Kotzwurst's CTO 1v1 with Kross. I recommend watching this full video. I recommend really watching all of Kotzwurst's invasion videos. You can learn so much about the gamer through them. But in this particular one, what really surprised me was seeing how much of a maniac Kross is as a reagent. He kind of just doesn't care that Kotzwurst is running him down. Kross is just speedrunning the trial anyways, in the imposter's face, in Kotzwurst's face. I guess it's probably because this is CTO, which is like the most speedrunnable of the main trials, that this works to pretty good effect. But I also think that this is only because Kross has the skills to pull this sort of thing off. Kross is a very good player. He is way better than me. If it was me in this 1v1 as reagent, I would just be doing my stealth thing of trying to fake out the imposter. Like I would go bash a door in girls' dorms and then sneak all the way over to infants just so the imposter is like falsely chasing my ghost from their synesthetic sense. But all that stealthing, even if it kept me safer, it would mean it would take a lot longer to complete the trial, and there's more danger in that as well, in that playstyle, so that's a sort of trade-off. When Kross goes so fast by comparison, he's basically forcing or daring Kotzwurst to abandon stealthy imposter play from his end as well. He's kind of saying, you know, you want to wait in one spot all trial long, go ahead, I'll just go beat the trial before you can react. This is a challenge that I think Kotz is forced to handshake, and he does. He spends a lot of time just sprinting after Kross, but also he finds really good timings to hide and wait, because Kross does his... Yo, I got off an 11-hour shift, I can't speak. Kross makes his intent really obvious with the objectives he's doing. It's everything I've talked about earlier. Like, Kotz knows what Kross is doing at basically all times apparently, because they both played these trials millions of times. Okay, this one's cringe. I have no idea why the game prioritizes the door shutting instead of the stab prompt, which is shown on the screen by the way, and then the door stagger has a bigger radius in the state of California. I think this should have easily been a kill to Kotz, all good. Really worth mentioning, Kotzwurst has also been cooking up other really good tech in Invasion game mode. As imposter, you can look at all the reagents ESOPs at any point in the trial to determine what rig they're using.
I'm trying to look for what the rig they're holding. Heal, when they're stun, ghost stagger, stun, jammer, blind. Stun, jammer, blind is the setup.
Sounds good.
This is extremely valuable information. I would show you what each rig looks like, but I'm mega lazy and I've been working on this video forever, and I just relapsed and I don't want to get the tokens to get all 6 rigs just to get footage for what each one looks like. Sorry.
Oh my god, I was in him. I did not see that. Die!
And you know, there's a ton of other good tidbits of knowledge for Invasion specific gameplay. We are really learning stuff every single day. Imposters are able to cancel each other's stabs, and this is very wasteful and foolish, so as imposters, you should let each other do your stabbing in peace. In heart maps like Deface or Drill the Futterman, you have infinite hearts with which to destroy security cameras. I have a feeling this will get patched out though, sorry for mentioning it. As imposters, you can make mega noise around a screamer if you want to mutually inconvenience a nearby reagent. Something I'm not seeing a lot of imposters doing is getting good dodge timers. You develop a sense for when reagents want to break you down. I think a common play by imposters should be, whenever you go for a fast slash, you should crouch immediately after, because I'm constantly seeing reagents panic spam projectiles right when an imposter's on top of them at that exact moment, so a quick predictive crouch downwards by an imposter I think is going to dodge a lot of these attempted projectile throws. Yeah, I don't know. Outro? Conclusion? I wanted to say something along the lines about how people are expecting too much from their role when they're playing Invasion. A big part of playing this game mode is being happy with limited outcomes, and you can't get greedy with it. Like, you'll see so often an imposter goes for a kill and they just hang around on 1 HP forever because they're thirsty for another kill, and another, and then they get bricked down and die and their respawn timer is forever. Or on the same side of that coin, a reagent lugs the gasoline for 30 seconds straight, all the way to the generator, then they decide to pour the gasoline all the way as well, and like, to hell with it, they might as well finish the cranking too, and through all that greeting, the imposter has more than enough time to just walk in and kill them, and then we start complaining about the bad outcome like it's not our fault for having super unrealistically optimistic expectations and not facing the reality of the situation. I don't know why this stuff annoys me. I guess in general, I'm kind of taken aback by the sheer amount of complaining going on surrounding Invasion. I come from League of Legends, so maybe I have too high a tolerance for unfun gameplay, but in League, the universally recognized best practice for improving at the game is this kind of radical self-criticism, meaning no matter the circumstances around you, no matter how unlucky you are or how bad your teammates, and how unfair everything is generally, you will only look at yourself and your own gameplay, and you'll only ask, what could I have done better? What could I have done to make this play or this game a success? Invasion does have issues. Trial finale sequences are kind of weird with the shuttle camping, and the really janky interactions make a lot of chaotic situations feel super unplayable, but in terms of balancing, I kind of wish Red Barrels wouldn't be so hyper-responsive to all the feedback, which is like a super first world problem I think. But when there's been like 3 hotfix patches in 4 days, and the bug fixes were good changes, but the balance changes going back and forth, I think it's too much. I want Red Barrels to just give us time to learn the game and learn the meta, And from there, we can get a more concrete and more stable sense of what is actually powerful and what isn't. Because when you have all this constant patching, it's just wasting a lot of Red Barrel's time, and I think the player base will develop unreasonable expectations about how soon things should get addressed, and also this is making a lot of my content outdated really quickly. So,